What's up? What's happening? Scotty Loughlin here. My long-term supporter Shimano suggested that I make a video all about how to get into mountain biking. So I've racked my brain, I've gone back 18 years and I've come to where it all began, the Mine Woods in Bridgetown. And this right here is in fact the very first jump that I ever hit. It doesn't look very big. I definitely think it's eroded over the last couple of years, but I used to session it all the time and build those skills. So in this video, we're going to go through the bike that you're going to need, how to set it up, the gear you might want, some basic skills, and how you find those trails. So let's get into it. Let's kick things off by talking about the different disciplines of the sport. You've got cross country, trail, all mountain, enduro, downhill, and of course, dirt jump. We're going to be focusing on that kind of trail, all mountain, enduro kind of riding where you're going to have to ride to the top to then ride back down. Let's drop in and then we can talk about the bike you're going to need. Let's talk about the bike. This right here is my Scott Ransom. It's a fully fledged enduro bike with 170 millimeters of travel both front and rear. It's equipped with Shimano Deore XT, which packs a punch, and it's the best compromise I feel between weight and performance. There's also Shimano Deore, which is their entry-level 12-speed group set, and it features the same technology as that XT or XTR thanks to the trickle-down technology. For the bike, you're probably going to want to start out on a hardtail, and you're probably thinking, why do I want to get a hardtail? I want to go for the full sus. The hardtail is going to really develop and exaggerate those core skills that are going to help you when you jump onto that full sus to become a better mountain biker. The full suspension bike is definitely comfier. In some ways it's easier to ride and it will give you more grip. But having built a really good base on that hardtail, when you do get that rear suspension, it's going to make a real big difference and you're going to appreciate it way more. We're now going to move on and talk about some of the key setup tips that can be quite easily missed when you're new to mountain biking. Having your seat at the right height is essential for climbing. It's going to make it way more efficient, and a dropper post is an absolute game changer. Drop the saddle and you've got plenty of space to slide over the rear for those steep descents. My next tip is all about tires, and it's twofold. The first part being we're talking about tire pressure and setting them up correctly. That's really going to give you more grip, and also the type of tire. You're probably going to want something grippier up front and faster rolling on the rear, and make sure they're suitable for the conditions and the trails that you're riding. Suspension setup. Correctly setting up that sag, that's really going to maximize the performance of your bike. Your bike shop can help with this, or you can check out the manufacturer's guidelines. The cockpit is your main contact point in the bike, so you want to have this all set up so you're super comfy. I'm talking about the stem, your bar roll, your grips, and also your shifter and brakes. You want to feel really comfortable behind there so you're in complete control of the bike. The other contact point that you have on your bike is pedals. I've got flat pedals on today. It's been a while since I've been riding these. They're super fun and they really are great for building those base skills, especially working on the bunny hop. Anyway, enough chat. Let's go for a rip and then we can talk about the gear. The equipment that you're going to need for mountain biking, well, starting at the top, you're going to want a helmet. It's the most obvious thing. You want something with a nice bit of coverage around the rear that you can adjust and get fitted well to your head. Glasses, they're optional, but definitely preferable. They're going to help without getting that wind in your eyes, so your eyes won't be streaming, and avoid any mud going into them. Gloves, again, they're optional. I sometimes wear them, sometimes don't. Really depends what I'm riding, how I'm feeling, and the conditions. And then the gear, well, mountain bikers tend to wear baggy clothing. I like to wear a long sleeve jersey just because if you are brushing past bushes, you're not going to get thorns or anything like that. It's just going to give you a little bit more protection. At the same time, you want to have those baggy shorts. You probably want to have pockets in them, useful for putting your phone or keys in there. Then knee pads. These to me are pretty essential. I definitely won't leave home without wearing a pair. If you do crash, you're going to put your hands out, you're also going to put your knees down, and your chances are you're going to slide along the ground. So it just helps avoid grazes and gives you some really good impact protection. Shoes, you want to get something mountain bike specific for a number of reasons. The main one being is that they tend to have soft soles that are going to stick into those pins on the pedals and give you loads of grip so your feet aren't sliding around. Finally, you're probably going to want a hydration pack so you can carry some tools, a spare inner tube, and some snacks so you can get home. We've talked about the different disciplines, we've talked about the bike and how you can set that up and the equipment. Now let's talk about some of the basic skills, and we're going to kick it off with balance. Now this is called the track stand. It's a great way to get an understanding of balance on the bike and the effects of moving your body weight back and forth it has. You can do this anywhere. It could be at the trailhead, weighing on your mates, or it could just be in the driveway at home. You can also feather those brakes. It's just a great way of getting confident on your bike. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Let's talk about braking. It's one of the most important factors of control of your bike. A common misconception is the fact that the back brake slows you down. It's all about feathering them, and I'm going to prove that to you because I'm just going to roll down this little section here. This time it's back brake only. So using the back brake, I gathered momentum down there. I didn't use any front brake at all. This time I'm going to feather that front brake to try and slow me down. See the difference right there? Using that front brake, just feathering it as they come down there. I managed to stop right here, completely in control. It's something that you can practice and get an understanding of what your brakes actually do. The next skill that we're going to talk about is pumping, or you could call it using your body as suspension. This is a perfect little scenario right here where we're going to drop in. Pumping through it is going to absorb the impact, it's going to make it easier on you, and you're also going to gain momentum. So let's drop in. The next skill that we're going to progress onto is the front wheel lift. It's super handy if you just want to lift that wheel over an object on the trail. And to do it, you're going to need to preload the front of the bike and then pop back, just like this. It's one that you can basically practice anywhere, and then afterwards you can progress onto the wheelie. From the front wheel lift, we can progress into the bunny hop, and the bunny hop is really useful out on the trail. It means you can jump over rocks. It's a basic jumping technique. This is my quick tip of doing it. So you want to lift that front wheel, and then at the same time, you want to drive those hips forward, pushing the back wheel up as the front wheel starts to come down. There we go. There are some essential mountain bike skills to complement the bike setup, the bike, and the gear that we've already talked about. But one thing that I would say is if you're struggling or you feel like you're stuck in a rut, a great thing to do is do a day of coaching. It's going to brush up on those techniques, even if you're really confident on the bike. I've done coaching days and I've just picked up tiny things that make things click together and flow way nicer. We're going to head down to the next trail, and then we're going to talk about how you can find new trails and where you can actually ride your bike. You've got your bike, you've got it set up, you've built a base of skills and you're feeling pretty confident, so you want to explore a little further. There are a couple of places that are great to go. Trail centers, they're all graded, and then also bike parks, they're similarly graded. But apart from that, how are you going to find trails locally where you live, or you want to go on an adventure? I use an app called Komoot for that. It is super useful. It's community based and people add in highlights, so it's easy to follow recommendations and find new routes. Apart from that though, you could also join your local bike club. They're probably going to have meetups and ride-alongs, and then similarly your local bike shop. Go to them, support them, getting your spare parts, getting your bike repaired, and they might take you on shop rides or even just point you in the right direction. Now let's talk about some of those common mistakes we've all made as mountain bikers. This is something that all of us mountain bikers have done at some point, and it's not taking water, snacks, pump, puncture repair kit, or a multi-tool with you. You end up getting stranded in the middle of nowhere and struggling to get home. And the next tip, well, it's one that's enough to put people off mountain biking. One of the most common mistakes people make is going for features that are beyond their abilities or feeling peer pressure to hit them. This right here is a small drop. You want to hit that, be really confident, and then build to those bigger drops. A great place to practice this is the skills part because they have varying heights and varying levels. Okay, hit that, feel confident. We're now going to progress onto the bigger one just down there. There you go then, some of my beginner mountain bike tips. It's been really fun coming back to where it all started, filming on it and riding it. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumb up like, especially if you've learned something. Don't forget to leave your comments, questions down below. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you out on the trails.
You stoked?
Man, I'm loving it. Back in the old stomping ground. This stuff all used to really scare me, and like I've not filmed or sessioned it in, I don't know when the last time I did it was, but it's so much fun. And the trail conditions are primo. In fact, boosting over that, I used to be scared just to jump the path. Now I'm jumping over the path and landing on the backside of what used to be a berm. It's all about progression really, that's what a lot of people forget.